it's great to get a chance to see you because a couple of times when we've done this interview, it was over the phone. Finally, with the which I think probably one of the best things that came out of COVID was Zoom. To be able to do these kind of interviews, I think is great, and especially because of what we're going to talk about. You got a big couple of days event going on, man. What's the event called and what's it about?
It's a North by Northeast Music Festival in Toronto, June 13th to 18th. 5 days of club hopping and seeing new music and getting those beautiful surprises when you become a biggest fan of a band you'd never heard of 2 weeks ago, which I love personally.
Where did the brainchild come from this, man? Was it adapted from what was going on in the US?
Oh yeah, I mean, my friends started South by Southwest, so I remember having conversations with them before they launched it.
Mhm.
And and then with the success of that, we realized, a lot of the things that made it work in Austin, Texas, a lot of those circumstances exist in Toronto too. So I shadowed them for a few years when they were having their event, brought some other people down from Toronto to do the same. And when we launched in 1995, we had a whole wave of Texans come up with us. For the first 5 years, they helped us do it, actually. And then we were sort of the little brothers telling the big brothers, you got to go now. We can do this. We can do this.
How's
But
it
we still
grown
are,
in your Sorry to interrupt you. I was going to say, how's it grown in your eyes over the years? How many years is this now?
it's like 27, I think. Yeah.
Wow. How's it grown in your
But
eyes?
what's interesting, I mean, because in some ways it grew, we made it bigger and bigger and bigger. And we sort of realized actually with the pandemic gave everybody a break to rethink things, to contemplate all kinds of stuff.
Mhm.
When we realized what really we like at its core, the best thing was the club festival.
Yeah.
It's best in terms of it's the most unique offering we have because there are a lot of concerts, but there's not a lot of concerts that are like this. We got 2,500 applications this year from all over the world. We're presenting 300 bands. My team,
Mhm.
we all listen to everything. And there's just such incredible stuff. And so in some ways, we've returned to our roots in that we've really kind of grabbed that piece, and really um like I said, that's the most unique piece. And what we do is we set the city up so it's easy to club hop because we every show starts at the same time. They all start on the hour.
Mhm.
40-minute sets, 20-minute changeover. So you can see a band at the Horseshoe, and then you can run down to the Rivoli and know that they're going to start when we say they are, which is really important if you want. Because if you leave a good table at one place and you rush off somewhere else, and the band isn't playing, and you sit around, and there's somewhere you want to go after that, it messes your whole night up. So I was funny. I just we had a whole meeting with our volunteers yesterday, and we were just going through that over and over, how important that piece is. But you think about a band who's they've done their bit to get people to show up. They've driven from Saskatchewan to play a show. They've told everyone they're going to be there. If you don't start when they say, they're going to lose all those people, and the whole trip is sort of wasted. So we really, I think in some ways we haven't grown in terms of getting big. Well, we have, I mean, but we've grown, I think, in our understanding of what we really want to do and what, as I say, what's sort of unique about it. And it's really, in some ways, we're like a landing place for these bands in these really early stages of their career. I mean, after 27 years, we really do have a pretty good track record of presenting artists before they take over the world. And if you want to go from the Sam Roberts and the Sarah Harmers and those folks in their very first years, we had Lizzo in playing in clubs in 2014. It's funny now. She played a place called the Wrong Bar, and it was about half full. But if you listen to people talk, there was about 5,000 people in the room that night because everybody says they were there. But I'm looking forward to the new Lizzo this year. Who will be our new Lizzo this year? But that really is part of the fun, and it's only $25 for the whole festival. That's
Wow.
like that's two beers at a Beyonce show at the Sky Dome, you know.
It's
So,
funny when you talked about world international things like that. I want to make sure people understand watching this. You are not kidding about this because I still remember several years ago when I was part of a group of music reporters where we stationed ourselves, and it was at a club, and we were interviewing as many artists who were going to be performing there as possible. And literally, there were some who, like, the English was really rough because they were from other, like, from Asia, from Europe, from like you're really hitting the corners of the world for this.
It's amazing, and I really am humbled. My friends would dispute whether I'm humbled, but I am humbled by this, the fact that people have this faith in us. I mean, we have bands this year that are coming from South Africa, Israel, Taiwan, Iceland, France, Colombia, tons from the States, tons from England. Like, and I mean, I know we had a bunch of bands from England last year. So this year we had a big pile of, so I'm assuming, well, that those bands that came last year had a great time, because that's what we seek to make sure that they do. We want them to feel valued. We've created a headquarters now on Queen Street this year, that for the musicians can hang out and they can meet each other and sort of get real, just increase the value out of the trip, because it's not just playing the gig, it's those other connections you can make, and it's seeing other musicians. I mean, it was funny. I was talking to some musicians yesterday about this, and they're like, that was their excitement, was like, yeah, we want to play our show, but we want to see other shows and get inspired.
It's a great thing you guys are doing. So let's break it down so people know exactly how the whole thing works. Because music, conferences, things like that, how's it all work?
Well, really at its core now, more than ever, it's the shows.
Okay.
We have so from Tuesday we have our first show at the Bovine, because he likes to get going, and then from Wednesday it's full on through the Sunday. The club shows are mostly Wednesday through Saturday, and there's like 22 clubs. We have a great website. Also, Next Magazine has tons and tons of coverage on it. It helps that I publish Next Magazine, but we'd be writing about North by Northeast anyway, I swear, even if it wasn't my festival. But so, and it's good to look at Next and North by, just to kind of find out, to kind of whet your appetite and sort of see, oh, I do want to see this crazy band that's called the Island of Broken Toys. It's coming up from, Ohio. Like, they look fun. They got cool costumes, that kind of stuff. And then, another thing that's happening this year that's interesting is that the state of Tennessee has become a big partner with us. And so they're bringing up a bunch of bands from Tennessee, and they're creating a thing called Little Tennessee in Liberty Village, right beside Lamport Stadium.
I got it. I got an email on that. Okay. I should interrupt, explain it, because I got an email on this.
Yeah. So they're creating a whole Little Tennessee environment. This is interesting too, Rudy, because you talk about growing and what we've learned. Like, we used to do these big outdoor shows, but they were at night, and I realized, oh my God, we're actually compete. If I want to help build these smaller club shows, I can't be giving away a giant concert at night. But what the folks in Tennessee are doing is they're doing daytime shows.
Yeah.
Outside free shows. So those shows end. Our club shows start at 9, and those shows will end at 9. And so you go to Liberty Village, free concerts, free food. We have lots of Tennessee bourbon. It's a whole thing. It's really wild.
That's the thing that sticks in my head, was that the Tennessee bourbon.
Oh yeah, there's no shortage of that. And so they're doing those shows, and also we'll be presenting the Tennessee acts and club shows at our new location called It's Okay, which is on Queen Street.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be amazing, man. Any other specialty shows or anything else that's going to be going on too?
I mean, that's the main stuff. Like, we're having a conference piece at that headquarters as well, but it's really all about those shows, and find which star you're going to hit yourself to.
And you were talking about anything, what's going on with the conference?
We, again, we've created a conference. It's real how-to stuff for for developing bands, including we've got the hip hop specialist from Bandcamp who's going to come and basically sort of give folks practical use of this, how to use Bandcamp, to get the value out of that. And sort of, again, just we're trying to give these artists earlier in their career as many tools as possible to reach as many people as possible.
And that's what it's supposed to be all about, man, because it's building the next stars of tomorrow. And it must be a thrill when you are watching any of the awards, whether it be the Junos or CCMAs or CM, like coming up as we speak, the CMAOs or whatever else, and you see an act going up there receiving that award, and you know that they went through you guys. It must be a thrill for you.
It is pretty wonderful. It really is. And I mean, obviously, we're just a station that they pass on their journey. It's all about them and their talent. But it's nice to think we had some kind of role in helping that. You know, the last artist I guess I had that experience with was Havaya Mighty, and we got really into her back in 2018, 2019. And I remember we were at an event, we were doing a thing with the Raptors and the sponsor, and this, you know, I was talking in the corner with the sponsors and stuff. And then Havaya came on stage, and I made them stop. I said, "You got to stop, walk over with me, watch this artist. 6 months from now, you're going to be phoning me up and thanking me for the fact that you sponsored her show because she's going to explode." And their jaws dropped watching her performance was crazy. She came off the stage into the crowd, like she was doing this thing. And 3 months later, she won the Polaris. And they phoned me up and they went, "Wow, you weren't kidding. Like, you know, where'd she come from?" But you know, we're lucky that way. And of course, you know, it only works if the talent is there and if the people are prepared to do the work. I mean, Havaya Mighty has worked really hard to build her career, and you watch your sister coming up strong now too. Amiga is pretty amazing.
Yeah, and Vaya, as we speak, is releasing a new single. So, you know, the story continues. So where do we get all the info so that we can get, you know, tickets, whatever we need to get around? Where do we go?
It's real easy. NXNE.com, and everything is there. Band bios, schedule information, ticket purchase. And if you want to read more, go to nextmag.ca, because Next also profiles all these artists.
And just curious, man, what's the next thing that's going to be coming up after this?
For me?
Yeah.
Next, because Next actually comes out today, and Next is doubling its Toronto circulation. We're going up to 60,000. We've increased the whole coverage of the local arts, so we have live theater and visual art and all more of that, and some progressive news commentary too. So you might be familiar with that little package.
Fantastic. And you know, you can always do a story on Rudy Blair, but you know, we'll talk about that. We got to get through this. We got to get through North by North first. Look, man, congratulations on everything you're doing. Thank you so much for contributing the way you guys do for the music industry. It's so important, and I cannot wait to see who's going to be around, because then, you know, in a couple of years when I'm interviewing them on the red carpet, I can say, you remember where we met? North by North, man. That's where it was. Thanks again for the interview, man, and congrats.
Thank you, Rudy. And I'll phone Rudy Blair's people about trying to set up that interview for Next.
I like that.